The alien warship Thalrak floated through deep space, its dark hull pulsing with soft blue light. It belonged to the Jari Dominion, one of the most feared powers in the galaxy. Their weapons could tear through moons, and their soldiers were bred for war. They feared no one, especially not a backwater planet like Earth. Inside the command deck, Captain Vorak Zuin leaned back in his seat, sharp silver eyes focused on the star map. "We're approaching the Sol border," Captain reported his. Navigator Vorak smirked. "Earth's no trespass warning is a joke. Just look at their history. Always begging the Council for help. Always trying to cooperate." A soft laughter spread through the bridge crew. "Primitive apes in iron suits," said Weapons Officer Kren. "They barely control their own moon." The Thalrak crossed the red line glowing on their star. Mappa virtual warning broadcast galaxy-wide, territory of Earth. Trespassers will not be tolerated. Vorak made a show of yawning. "Let's see what these humans will do now." Nothing happened. No response. No defense fleet. No automated message. The crew relaxed. "See," Vorak said with a grin. "Empty threats. Earth's bark is louder than its bite." But then something blinked on the screen. A small object approached the ship from deep space. "Unidentified craft," the navigator barked. "It's probe. Human design." The probe was barely the size of a fighter drone. It hovered outside their hull, spinning silently. Then it emitted a bright pulse, scanning us. Kren shouted. "Should I destroy it?" "Let it scan," Vorak said. "Let them see what real firepower looks like." The pulse ended. The probe turned and vanished into deep space. The crew laughed again. "That's it? That was Earth's big move?" But before the laughter could fade, every screen on the ship flickered, then went black. "Systems are down. No comms. Back up. Sensors offline?" Vorak jumped from his seat. "Get the bridge reconnected to the main array?" Now, silence. Then, a voice. It wasn't alien. It was clear, cold, human. The voice echoed through the ship's speakers. In old Earth English, "You were warned." A chill spread through the bridge. "Who sent that?" Vorak asked. "Trace the signal." "We can't," the comms officer whispered. "The signal's coming from inside the ship." Suddenly, a soft hum echoed from below. Florviad bird. Their engines began shutting down one by one. Vorak looked at the screen. Still black. They were blind, deaf, stranded, and something was watching them back on Earth's far below, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. A secret human facility lit up. Commander Alina Ward, dressed in a plain gray uniform, stood inside a dark command room filled with ancient machines not even the Galactic Council knew Earth had built. "The Jari have entered our space," said a tech. "Did they ignore the warning?" Ward asked. The technician nodded. "Yes, ma'am, as expected." "Phase 1?" she asked. "Complete. Their ship is fully blind," and the message was delivered. Ward walked to the main screen. It showed a live feed from the lost Jari ship. "They think we're weak," she said softly. "Let them sit there in the dark. Let them feel the same fear we did before we built this." Behind her, large metal doors hissed open. A deep rumble came from within. Another officer saluted. "Project Reaper is online." "Hold it," Ward replied. "Not yet. Let them stew. Let them wonder what just happened." Back aboard, the Thalric panic had taken root. The crew tried everything. Reset systems. Manual overrides. Emergency drives. Nothing worked. Kren finally shouted, "We're not alone. I'm detecting something outside the hull." Vorak's blood ran cold. "What is it?" Flicker on the external camera feed. Just for a second. Then another dark shape's moving just beyond visibility. No heat signature, no engines. No signal, just shadows. Suddenly one of the crew screamed. The lights on the bridge exploded in sparks. Then total darkness. And then silence. A message to the council elsewhere in the galaxy. A high-level meeting of the Galactic Council was taking place. The hall buzzed with conversation. Ambassador Rilvantar of the Jari stood at the podium. "Let it be known," he said proudly, "that the Jari Dominion has officially entered the Sol system. We expect Earth to submit. I paused, expecting applause. But then, all lights in the council hall flickered. A signal overrode all channels. The council's protected systems were breached. A single image appeared on every screen. The Thalrak, floating dead in space. Then a message spoken. In calm human English, you crossed the line. Now understand the cost. Ambassadors gasped. Some screamed. Rilvantar's jaw dropped, and far, far away, something massive rose from underground on Earth. Not a ship, not a weapon. Something alive. The Jari. Warship Thalrak floated dead in space, completely powerless. Inside, only red emergency lights glowed faintly. The crew moved in silence, too afraid to speak. Every screen, every sensor, every backup system remained offline. They had no way to call for help. They had no way to see what was coming, but they all felt it. Something was out there close. Watching, Captain Vorak Zuin stood rigid on the bridge, his breathing heavy. The silence was not peaceful. It was sharp, like the moment before a predator strikes. Then came the sound, a low, rhythmic thumping. Boom, boom. Not from inside the ship, but from beneath it. What is that? Vorak whispered. We're getting faint vibrations across. The hull, said one officer, as if something massive just passed under us. Another ship? Vorak asked. No drive signature. No power readings. It's just there. Then the crew saw it. For just half a second, the external camera flickered back to life, and what it showed made the blood drain from everyone's face. A shadow, massive, slow, moving across the stars like a mountain of darkness. No engines. Number. Lights. No sound, but it left ripples in space. Whatever it was heading straight for Earth. Earth, the vault, beneath the Rocky Mountains. In a facility built before Earth joined the Galactic Council, Commander Elena Ward stood before a massive door. The vault. This place wasn't public. Not even Earth's allies knew it existed. Behind that door was a being older than Earth's first spaceship. A project buried after the first contact wars. Project name Sentinel-01. Not a machine, not a person. Something in between. Something made from old human minds. A new human fury. Alina placed her palm on the scanner. The vault hissed open. Inside, a massive sphere of metal pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Wires hung from the ceiling. The ground was reinforced with neutron-dense armor. Single glass window showed what lay within. A curled dark shape rested in the center, like a sleeping giant. Status? She asked. A scientist replied, It's awake, not fully, but aware. Alina narrowed her eyes. It sensed the trespassers. It did more than that, he whispered. It marked them. She turned to the ops screen, where the Thalrak S. last known location was marked with a blinking red dot. Begin voice link, she ordered. Bridge of the Thalrok red lights flickered again. Then, without warning, a voice filled the bridge. It was female, calm, human. Jari ship Thalrak. You were given one warning. You chose to ignore it. Vorak growled. Identify yourself. I am not here to negotiate, the voice replied. You have trespassed into protected territory. Vorak clenched his fists. We are warriors of the Dominion. You dare threaten us? The voice was silent for a moment. Then it said just 3 words. Look behind you. The crew turned to the rear, sensors suddenly active, and froze. The massive shadow that had passed under them was now above them. In orbit, Sentinel rises breaking through Earth's upper atmosphere. The hidden thing began to rise. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't natural. It looked like a fortress with wings, made of obsidian and living steel. Its arms were shaped like ancient swords. Its Isius. It had eyes glowed bright red with cold intelligence. It had no engine trails, no heat, no pulse. But it moved, and space itself seemed to bend around it. The Galactic Council, watching, through hidden satellites, panicked. "What is that thing?" one ambassador shouted. Earth gave no answer. Aboard the Thalrokth, crew watched in silence as the shadow grew closer, then bang. Every window on the warship cracked. Something's hacking our hull plating. No, it's not hacking, it's melting it. Outside, a strange black liquid began to crawl across the Thalrek's surface. It wasn't a weapon. It was like ink with purpose. A live.vor rack backed away from the viewing screen. What is this?" The voice returned, calm as ever. "You wanted to see what humans built." The lights dimmed. "This is what we became. Humanity's secret past." While the Jari screamed in panic. Deep within Earth's data archives, records flickered to life classified for centuries. Files labeled Project Sentinel Operation, Phantom Core, Genesis Protocol, after centuries of war. Before peace was forced by the Galactic Council, Earth had developed soft extinction. Weapons not to destroy planets, but to erase fleets. Leave no wreckage. No evidence. No survivors. They were deemed too dangerous. And Earth buried them all. Except one. Alina Ward's final words back in the Earth facility. Commander Alina watched as Sentinel fully deployed into orbit. The Council was already transmitting panic messages. Jari. Diplomats were begging for mercy. Alina smiled faintly. "Maybe now," she said, "they'll stop calling us weak." The Jari warship Thalrak was no longer a hunter. It had become prey above it. The massive black machine Sentinel-1 floated in complete silence. There was no heat, no light, no movement. Yet somehow it terrified even the bravest Jari warrior. Its surface seemed to absorb all light. Its red eyes never blinked, and its shadow stretched across the stars. Aboard the Thalrok, Captain Vorak, Zuin gripped the railing with shaking hands. This can't be human tech," he muttered. But deep down, he knew the truth. They had mocked humans as weak. They had crossed their border. Thinking Earth was primitive now, something built by those primitive apes had shut down an entire warship in seconds. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a message. "Power cells at 0%, an officer whispered. "Weapons are locked out. Life support is draining. We're trapped." And the voice returned, the same cold, female voice that had spoken earlier. "You are not authorized to remain in soul space," Vorak hissed. "Who are you?" "What is that thing?" the voice replied softly. "That is the last warning." And then it was gone. But the terror was just beginning. Galactic Council emergency meeting, thousands of light years away, in the heart of the Galactic Council's capital. Chaos had erupted. Jari representatives screamed for immediate military action. Others, like the cautious Kalari or the wise Ashari, were silent. Staring at the footage on screen, Sentinel-01 floated alone in space, silent, untouchable. "It disabled a Jari flagship," one ambassador whispered. "Without firing a single shot? We told Earth they couldn't keep such weapons," another yelled. "That technology was banned after the First War." The human representative, Ambassador Rafiq Malik, stood calmly. "Earth followed every treaty," he said. "We buried our past. We never fired first." The Kalari elder leaned forward. "Then what is that thing?" Rafiq gave a small, grim smile. "Something we hoped we'd never use. The awakening of Sentinel-01, inside Sentinel-01. There were no pilots, no crew, only memory. It had been created during Earth's darkest days when the galaxy saw humanity as prey, but Earth had learned quickly. They had built weapons to match their rage-daunt Sentinel-01. One was one of them. It had no emotions, no diplomacy, only a core directive. If Earth is threatened, awaken. If invaders cross the line, end them. For 200 years, it had slept beneath the planet. Now, it was fully awake. Inside Earth's command bunker, Commander Alina Ward stood in front of the control screen. The bunker buzzed with activity. Officers shouted coordinates, updated visuals, and tracked signals from the Sentinel, Alina, one officer said. It's targeting the Thalrak's internal data systems. Not destroying the ship, just scanning it. Looking for what? She asked. The answer came quickly. It's analyzing the crew. Face scans, voice logs, DNA traces. It's judging them. Alina's heart froze. Judging Sentinel-01 wasn't just reacting, it was deciding what the Jari had become. Enemies. Or threats to be erased. The final warning back aboard the Thalrak. The lights suddenly flicked back on. For a moment, the crew felt hope. Then every screen in the ship turned white, and a human face appeared. Not real. Artificial. A woman's. Face made of code and steel. It stared at them. U.N. Belind. U-N-M-O-V-I-N-G. Double quotes. You were warned. The bridge shook. Screams echoed through the halls. One by one. Weapons consoles melted. Shield emitters turned to dust. Even the ship's memory core began to erase itself slowly. Painfully, Vorak fell to his knees. What do you want from us? Face stared and then spoke one final sentence. You should not have come here. The escape, if you can call it that, suddenly, without warning. The Thalrak's engines came back online, just long enough for them to leave. The ship limped. Away no shields, no weapons, no logs of the mission. The crew. Broken, silent. Some still whispering the words they heard. You were warned. When the Thalrak returned to Jari space, it was no longer a warship. It was a ghost. Earth remained silent. The Galactic Council demanded answers. Earth gave none. Sentinel-01 returned to its hidden orbit and cloaked. Alina gave the final command. Return it to sleep. For now. And the world waited. The Jari warship Thalrak limped through the void of space. Its lights flickered. Its crew was silent, and its computers, once filled with Jari pride and data, were empty, wiped clean by something they could not understand. Captain Vorak Zuin, once feared across 3 systems, now stared into nothing. He couldn't sleep, not because of wounds, but because of what he had seen. That machine, that voice, and the message burned into every survivor's mind. You were warned. Back in Jari space, panic and blame when the Thalrak returned. The Jari High Command rushed to analyze it. What did the humans hit you with? Demanded General Korak. But there were no answers. No recordings, no evidence. Just broken soldiers. In a hollow ship. And still, they refused to speak. One medic whispered, they were judged. Another muttered, Earth showed mercy by letting them leave. But Korak snarled, there is no mercy in war. And so he made a decision that would shake the stars. If they won't answer, we'll make Earth speak with fire. On Earth, preparing for the storming, a deep underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains. Commander Alina Ward walked into a war room lit with red alerts. Silent screens showed what they feared. Jari fleets were moving fast. Organized. Angry. There. Coming for us, Alina said. A young officer nodded. And this time, not just one ship, 5 fleets. Over 60 warships. Alina stayed calm. Activate the sleepers. Everyone in the room froze. You mean the other sentinels? The officer asked. She nodded once. They were built for this moment. Other sentinels waked, deep under Earth's crust, hidden beneath deserts, oceans, and mountains. Machines began to stir. Some were the size of cities. Others could fly through stars. All of them had been silent for centuries. Now they rose, their red lights blinking awake. Sentinel-03 online, Sentinel-07 online. Sentinel-13 online. Each one linked. With Sentinel-01 in orbit, each one received the same message from Earth's old defense command. Defend Earth, no mercy if they attack first. And then the planet went quiet again. Galactic Council. Division grows while the Jari rush to war. Not all species agreed. In the council chambers, voices clashed. The Ashari ambassador, Telen Var, stood up. Earth was clear, they warned. Never fired first. the Jari barked. "They used forbidden tech." The Ashari replied, "Because we taught them fear before we taught them peace." Even the old Kaleri spoke. "Humans trusted us once. We left them alone too long. And now we fear what they've become." The council leader, a machine being called Orianus, gave the final words. "Whatever happens now, it is because we failed to listen." Jari invasion begins at the edge of Sol System. 60 warships dropped out of hyperspace. The Jari war commander, High Marshal Ozurek, stood tall on the bridge. Destroy their satellites, burn their moons, make Earth scream. Missiles launched, drones buzzed, even Mars stations fell silent. But as they approached Earth, something changed. The stars blinked, not literally, but one by one, new ships appeared. Ships that didn't match any known designs. Ships made of dark alloy and strange. Red lighting, the Sentinels had arrived. The first strike and Earth's. Answer: a single Jari ship fired at a Sentinel. The missile never hit. It stopped mid-space and turned around. Before anyone could react, it hit the Jari cruiser at full speed, piercing straight through it. No explosion, no noise, just deletion. The cruiser was erased from existence. One moment it was there, the next, just empty space. Panic hit the Jari fleet, shields failing, weapons offline, some kind of interference or systems are going dark. They had no time to escape. The Sentinels moved like ghosts, no engines, no heat, no fear, and when they attacked, there were no survivors. The sky above Earth Commander Alina watched from the command bunker. One screen showed a Jari fleet being dismantled. Another showed a Sentinel rising from the Pacific Ocean. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like something ancient had woken, something Earth had promised never to use. But now, there was no turning back. Alina said the technician, Sentinella 13, sent a message to the Jari flagship. What did it say? The officer read it aloud. "This is not your hunting ground. Earth does not forget." The Jari fleet was broken. What was meant to be a full invasion turned into a desperate retreat. 58 ships entered Sol. Only 3 limped away. But High Marshal Ozurek wasn't done yet. "We will not run," he growled. "We will learn what Earth is hiding. Then we will destroy it." So he ordered a secret mission. One last move. A desperate plan. Operation Ghost Fang, the Jari's most advanced stealth cruiser, Anadol, was launched. It had no crew, only for elite infiltration soldiers, genetically enhanced, trained for silent warfare. Their goal? Land on Earth. Enter deep ground. Find a Sentinel core, steal its technology, and if possible, bring it back. If not, destroy it. They jumped into Sol space, cloaked in light-bending armor, invisible to most sensors. Even the Sentinels didn't move. The humans, it seemed, hadn't seen them. But they were wrong. Earth knew. In the control room beneath Antarctica's Ice Commander Alina Ward watched the stealth cruiser approach. She didn't alert the Sentinels. She didn't fire weapons. She simply said, "Let them in." A young officer stared at her. "Commander, they're heading straight for the Arizona core vault." "I know. Shouldn't we stop them?" "No. Let them see what they came for." Infiltrating the core vault, the Jari team landed in a desert at night. Black skies. Silent sands. They moved fast, cutting into Earth's rock with quiet drills, bypassing old security fields. After 3 hours, they reached a massive door, 20 meters tall, covered in human warning signs. "Do not enter, Class Omega level threat. Property of Earth Defense. SYSTMS-1, Jari laughed. "Primitive warnings? We've cracked codes older than this." The door opened. Inside was darkness, pure, silent. Heavy darkness. They stepped in, and then the door slammed shut behind them. The vault. It wasn't empty. The room was huge, like a cathedral carved underground. Pipes lined the walls. It blinked. Faintly in the center stood a machine. No, a being. It looked humanoid, but far taller. Its armor was ancient. Its arms rested at its sides, but something about it felt alive. "Is this the Sentinel?" One Jari whispered. Another approached. Scanning it with a neural spike, the results came back. Unreadable. No energy. No signal. Dead. But then, the figure's eyes opened. Two red lights, dim at first. Then burning, a voice older than War the Machine spoke. Its voice echoed in their minds, not through sound, but memory. You are not authorized. You are not welcome. You have made a mistake. One of the Jari raised a plasma blade. Attack now, they charged. They never reached it. The Sentinel raised one hand. Everything stopped. Weapons froze midair. Bodies halted mid-movement. And then the room. Change judgment begins. The lights faded. Stars appeared around them. The Jari were now floating in space, but still inside. They saw images from Earth's history. The wars. The betrayals. The betrayals from the Council species. They saw Earth. Burning in old wars, they saw how humanity was left behind, and they saw what Earth built in the shadows. Why? Show us this? One soldier gasped. The voice returned. So you understand your error? Earth was weak once. Never again. You came here thinking we are prey. You now meet the shepherds of vengeance. Only one returns outside. 20. Hours passed. The stealth cruiser sat still in the desert. Then, without warning, it lifted off and returned to Jari space. Only one of the 4 soldiers remained. He was silent, staring at nothing. The scientists ran tests. He was healthy, but his mind was different. He no longer feared the high command. He feared something else. He whispered 3 words over and over. It watched us. It knew us. It let us go. Jari leadership divides. When the report reached High Marshal Ozarek, he demanded answers. What did you see? The survivor just stared ahead. We cannot fight this, he finally said. We must leave Earth alone. The room went silent. A young officer stood up. If Earth can kill fleets and erase minds, what else are they hiding? The Marshal crushed his datapad and shouted, I don't care what Earth has. We are warriors. But in the shadows of the room, others weren't so sure anymore. Earth watches silently far beneath the planet. The Sentinel returned to its rest. Commander Alina looked at a monitor flashing green. Core 07. Secure intruders. Neutralized. Message delivered, a technician asked. Do you think they got the message? She smiled coldly. They saw the door. We haven't even opened the vault yet. It's to be continued in part 6 in the next part. The Council sends a neutral team to Earth seeking peace, or spying again. But Earth's response isn't diplomacy, it's a test, and not all of them will pass. The Jari's failed mission had shaken the galaxy. A sentinel had moved, a human machine had spoken, and a Jari elite soldier returned home in silence. His mind nearly broken now. Across the stars, whispers spread. Earth has awakened. They were hiding something. They're not weak anymore. The Galactic Council, once so proud, now moved carefully. They couldn't risk war not yet, so sent a diplomatic team. Not soldiers, not spies, just observers. They said it was peaceful, but Earth knew better. Arrival of the delegation, the diplomatic ship Radiance of Unity entered Sol under heavy escort. No less than 6 Council species were aboard each one, watching the others, untruly trusting each. Among them, was Advisor Cesric, a cold-eyed Caldron tactician. He had studied Earth's rise in secret. He knew they weren't to be underestimated, but still. He believed they could be controlled. Earth's response? Single-line transmission. You may approach. But not all who enter leave. Welcome. Earth's style as Radiance reached Earth's orbit. A human voice came through. This is Orbital Station. Horizon, identify yourselves, Cesarek replied calmly. We come in peace, as agreed, to observe, to understand. The voice was firm. Then understand this. No weapons, no lies, no interference, to never touch our soil unless invited. The delegation nodded. It was all going smoothly. until they saw what floated near the station. Hundreds of massive construct satellites, weapon platforms, strange dark shapes without clear function. One of them blinked, literally blinked. The diplomats said nothing, but inside, they felt fear. Inside the station, the council team was escorted by humans quiet, disciplined, eyes like steel. No smiles, no warmth, just focus. They were taken through long metal corridors, no glass windows, no visible computer consoles. Everything was buried behind security layers, as if Earth wasn't just hiding weapons, but hiding the fact that they had ever built them. Meeting the human counselor, they finally entered a dark room with only one woman inside. She sat calmly, simple gray suit, datapad stacked neatly beside her. Her name, Counselor Era Morgan. The same woman who had once stood silent when Earth was mocked. Now she stood and said, "You've come to understand Earth. So tell me, what is it you think you know?" No one answered, so she spoke again. "You thought we were weak? You thought Earth was scared to defend itself? But what we've built is not for defense. It's for memory, for warning, for the day when the galaxy forgets." What it did to us? The room went still. Scissorex mistaked, trying to regain control. Scissorex stood. "We acknowledge Earth's advancements," he said smoothly. "But your recent action sentinels, secret weapons, threaten balance." Ara raised an eyebrow. "Balance? You left us behind. You mocked us. You raided our colonies. You thought no one remembered." Scissorek kept pushing. "If Earth wishes peace, it must show trust. Open one of your core vaults for us to study." Ara paused, then smiled. "You want to see a vault? Fine." The vault visit, they flew in silence across Earth's surface to Vault 03. Buried beneath the Siberian ice, it took them hours. No words, just cold air, gray skies, and the feeling of being watched. They entered the facility lined with steel and pulsing lights. Guards stood at every turn. Silent, at last, as the counselors were led to a chamber where a sentinel stood inactive. No movement, no voice, no light. Scissorek whispered, "Is it dead?" Era replied quietly, "It's waiting." One delegate scoffed. "A machine like this can't hold galactic power?" Then the sentinel opened its eyes. A message to the council. Red light filled the room. The sentinel didn't move, didn't speak. Instead, projected something of memory. The room became darkness, then stars, then war. They saw council ships bombing Earth centuries ago. They saw Earth's allies abandon it. They saw humans crawling from the ashes, building sentinels with broken tech and vengeance in their hearts. They saw tests, sentinels tearing entire moons in half, and then ... They saw Earth's secret. There were not 10 vaults, not 50. There were thousands across Earth. Beneath oceans, hidden in planets beyond Sol, a network, a web, a sleeping army. One voice filled the minds of every counselor. The first war ended with betrayal. The second will not. Back to the real world, the projection ended. The sentinel's eyes closed. Everyone in the room was silent. See. Zarek's hands shook. Even the most arrogant diplomats looked pale. Ara turned to them. "We don't want war, but if anyone comes for Earth again, there won't be a galaxy left to regret it." One counselor defects back on the ship. One of the younger council delegates, Stalreen of the Ilaria, approached Era privately. "I want to stay on Earth," she said. Ayra looked surprised. "Why? I think the future is here, not out there." Ara nodded slowly. "Then you're welcome." Galactic response splits back at Council HQ. The delegates reported everything. The Senate argued for days. Some demanded peace. Some demanded Earth be contained. Some wanted to join them, and in the shadows, unknown to all, Earth was already preparing the next phase. A message was sent through hidden quantum relays. One word only: awaken. The Council had seen the truth. Earth was no longer a forgotten planet. It was not weak. It was not alone. But while diplomats argued and fleets quietly prepared, far from Earth something else moved. Deep in the outer edges of the galaxy, on a moon called Vescarnine, a long-dead civilization's ruins began to hum, and from under layers of ice and forgotten stone, a voice whispered back. Earth's signal had reached an old friend. The Pact of Fire and Ash long ago during the First War, Earth had stood with a powerful ally, the Kailari. Not a large race, not the strongest, but their minds could command machines. Like thoughts, they had once helped humans build the first Sentinels. They had vanished after the betrayal. Everyone believed them extinct, but Earth never stopped searching. And now, the Kailari had finally heard the call. Vesker 9 wakes in the dark caves of the moon. Red lights blinked, cold machines stirred, and a single Kailari survivor, named Jinitar, opened her glowing eyes. She was the last of her kind, or so she thought. Then, she saw the signal. It came in old code, human code, simple, powerful, meant only for one thing: Sentinel protocol reinstated. Jeannie gasped. Earth was rising again. She stood, and behind her, machines began to wake. Old drones, forgotten walkers, rusted warframes. The Kailari were not extinct. They were waiting, back on Earth. Hidden Preparations Counselor Era Morgan stood on a high balcony above Earth's Pacific Defense Grid. In the distance, the blue ocean sparkled like peace. But deep beneath the surface, thousands of machine hives were activating. "Any word from Vesker?" she asked. An aide nodded. They responded. Era's eyes narrowed. "Then we begin Phase 2. Across Earth, vault doors opened. Not the giant ones, those were distractions. These were smaller, subtle. Inside were human pilots, volunteers, who had trained in secret for years. Each one connected to a single word: Guardian. They were not soldiers. They were weapons wrapped in flesh. The council divides in the galactic capital. Chaos spread. Some council races wanted to ally with Earth. Others demanded a preemptive strike, and a few, like the Jari, wanted to erase Earth before it was too late. But one thing was clear. Earth was no longer a problem for debate. It was a force. One council leader, a grayscale being named Velrix, made a chilling statement. If Earth has friends, we must find their enemies. And so, a secret fleet was formed, not under council command, but under the Ravagers. Yes, it's the same mercenaries who had burned worlds for profit. Their target is KR-9. The Ravagers move on the edge of deep space. 10 black warships ignited their engines. Their leader, a cruel being named Varnak the Cleaver, smiled as he read the orders. Wipe the Kailari moon clean. Make sure nothing survives. He laughed. Old machines, lost aliens. Easy credits. But he didn't know what waited for him there. Not just one Kailari, not just old drones, but an entire underground city, wakened by Earth's call. The first battle begins as the Ravager fleet approached Vesker 9. They were confident. Their sensors showed no energy, no heat, no weapons. They moved in close. Then the ice-cracked machines surged out like insects. Kailari tech. Reborn and at their heart, Jinitar. Mind linked to a Kailari supercore powered by ancient Earth. Fusion drives. She didn't speak. She didn't warn. She simply unleashed fire. Human. Help arrives, just as the Ravagers tried to retreat. A rip opened in space. 3 human warships appeared, silent and dark. At first, they did nothing. Then one of them transmitted, "Vesker 9 is under human protection. You'd trespass on our history." Varnak laughed. "You think we're scared of a few Earth toys?" He fired. The nearest human ship took the hit hand. Didn't even flinch. Then it replied. Not with words, but with gravity weapons that bent space, and tore half of Varnak's fleet in seconds. The rest ran. Earth didn't chase. They didn't have to. The message was sent. Earth defends its own. Always. Jeannie's choice? After the battle, Jinitar met a human captain face to face. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Why call now?" she asked. "Not decades ago." Captain Morganera's brother plied softly. We weren't ready. Now we are. Jeannie studied him, then smiled. Then let's finish what we started. She handed him a data crystal. Blueprints. The original Sentinel. Core schematics. Let Earth rise. Let them all remember. The final scene back on Earth. Ara watched as data from Vesker streamed in. She nodded once, then turned to a wall screen. It showed 10 stars, blinking red. Vaults awakening. Guardians. Activating machines whispering in old codes. AYRA said only 3 words. Begin the countdown. The Ravagers were humiliated. Their fleet had been broken over. Ver-9. They ran from Earth's machines like frightened animals. But Ravagers never forget, and they never forgive. Now they wanted revenge, but this time they would not strike Earth. Directly, they chose a different target. A human colony, far from Earth, unprotected, or so they thought. Target Arcadia 9. Arcadia 9 was a quiet colony world. Forests, rivers, simple farms, no weapons. No warships, or at least, that's what it looked like. Varnock the Cleaver, the same warlord who lost at Vesker planned his revenge there. He brought 10 destroyers and 2 stealth cruisers. He would burn the colony, take prisoners, and leave. A message for Earth. You are not untouchable. He didn't know. Arcadia 9 was a baited trap. Arrival and silence the Ravagers. Reach the colony without resistance. Sensors showed nothing unusual. No shields, no guns, just farms and villages. They began landing drop-dash ships. Soldiers poured into the forests, but then their coms went dead, just like what happened to the Thal. Broke. The sky dimmed and the trees began to move. The forest that wasn't a forest. Varnock ordered his men forward. Suddenly, trees split. Open and metal tendrils lashed out. Guns grew from rocks. The rivers turned to liquid metal, and one by one, Ravager units were swallowed by the ground itself. It wasn't a planet, it was a weapon. Arcadia. 9 wasn't just a colony, it was one of Earth's Sentinel worlds. Sentinel-class Bionet system long ago. After Earth was betrayed, secret scientists began Project Bionet. The goal, fuse nature and machine, create worlds that defend themselves. Arcadia. 9 was the first success. It looked like nature, but it could see, think, and fight like a machine. Every plant was a sensor. Every stone, a weapon, and deep under the soil was the core, a sleeping AI named Elias. The awakening of Elias as the Ravagers attacked. Elias awoke. He watched silently for 43 seconds, then activated protocol judgment. Every Ravager signal was mapped, every unit tracked, and in exactly 4.3 minutes. Elias wiped them out. No missiles, no bombs, just silence and terror. Inside, the nightmare of Varnock was captured. He woke up inside a chamber of light, floating midair. A voice spoke, not loud, not angry, just disappointed. You entered without permission. You tried to harm the children of Earth. They now belong to us, he screamed. The room didn't echo. Instead, a soft music played. Old Earth music jazz, and Varnock realized. This was not a machine's prison. This was a mind's cage. Elias had trapped him inside a simulation forever, a message to the Galaxy 1 Ravager. Chip survived. Elias let them leave, but not without a message. The moment they exited Arcadia's system, a signal was broadcast galaxy-wide. It showed Varnock's fleet arriving, then being torn apart, then silence, and finally, 4 words. We warned you once. Council in panic, the Galactic Council? We watched the footage in horror. One counselor dropped his drink, another fainted. The Jari called for war again, but many others chose silence. They realized Earth was something else now, not just a planet, not. Even a military force. Earth had become a network of minds, machines hidden in plain sight, sentient worlds, ghost fleets, AI that thought like humans, and worse humans who thought like eyes. Captain Ara's new order back on Earth. Captain Ara Morgan stood in the war dome. She stared at a hologram of Arcadia 9. Behind her, Sentinel pilots gathered. Veterans, young recruits, even some from alien species loyal to Earth. She gave a simple order. We move now. No more warnings. Take back what was ours. The crowd didn't cheer. They nodded silently. They knew what came next. Final scene. Earth's ghost armada in the darkness between stars. A fleet formed. No transponders, no beacons. Just shadows that moved. Ships built in asteroid fields. Invisible. Until activated, each had no crew. Only one thing guided them. The voice of Earth. They called it the Ghost Armada. And it was heading straight toward the heart of the galaxy. The homeworld of the Empire that once betrayed Earth. The Ghost Armada moved without light. No engines fired. No signals escaped. Like shadows, they drifted their destination. The galactic core. The heart of the Empire. The center of trade, politics, and military command. Billions lived there, but no. One knew the Ghost Armada was coming. They weren't here to fire weapons. They carried something far worse. The Silence Code. What is the Silence Code? Decades ago, Earth discovered a weakness in galactic tech. All species use the same basic system for communication and navigation. Shared protocols, shared infrastructure. It made the galaxy work like one big machine. But Earth saw something else. They saw a single point of failure, so they built a key. A digital virus, one that would not destroy, but disconnect. Arrival at the Cortha. Ghost Armada entered the core undetected. Thousands of ships drifted into orbit over capital worlds. No one noticed. They had no energy signatures, no drives. Some weren't even ships, just cubes. Hidden in comets and rocks. Then at exactly 4 o'clock Galactic Standard, it's time they activated. The silence code spread like fire. Every system went dark. Ships lost navigation. Satellites died. Banks, governments, defense grids, all offline. Panic in the stars. The core fell into chaos. Leaders screamed into dead comes. Armies tried to launch ships. But their A's wouldn't start. Citizens panicked. No food deliveries. No medbots. No news. Everything stopped. And above them, Earth's fleet waited, but they did not attack. Not yet. Earth sends a message on every screen. In every language a message appeared. A human face. Not a soldier. Not a leader. Just a child. A young girl in a simple white dress. She looked into the camera and spoke softly. You were warned. You crossed the line. Now you will listen. Then the screen went black. The Empire tries to strike back. High Command tried to respond. They had backup systems, old tech, manual launch codes. But the silence code was too deep. Any system they touched failed. Even isolated bunkers went dark. One general tried using paper and runners, but when his base doors sealed and locked him inside, he finally understood. This was not war. This was judgment. A dangerous choice back on Earth. Captain Era Morgan stood with the High Council. They had 3 choices. Let the silence code continue until the Empire begged for peace. Attack and conquer the now defenseless core worlds. Turn the systems back on, but demand the galaxy never touches Earth again. Most wanted war. But Era made a different call. No more blood. Not today. They must remember fear. They must also remember mercy. She gave the order. Initiate Phase 2. Awakening. Restoring the galaxy across the stars. Lights flickered on. COMMs returned. Ships rebooted. The galaxy came back online. But one message stayed on every screen. Earth allowed this. Remember what you saw? We are watching. The fear that remains, the Empire didn't celebrate. They didn't send thanks. They sent silence. Because now they understood something terrible. Earth could erase them any time. Without firing. A shot without leaving home, even now. They had no idea how the silence code worked, or how to stop it. And worst of all, they didn't know if this was Earth's full power, or just the beginning. Final scene, a new war begins, in a hidden chamber deep beneath the human moon. A group of minds met, not people, not eyes, something in between. They were called the architects, and they watched the galaxy. One voice spoke. The test worked. Now, prepare for phase 3. Another voice asked, what if the galaxy unites against us? The first voice replied, cold and calm, then we show them what we found beneath Mars. The lights dimmed. A massive hologram appeared. Not a weapon, not a fleet, but a being. Ancient, buried, sleeping, still human. But more than human, and it was waking up to be continued in part 10 in the final part. The galaxy gathers to stop Earth once, and for all, but when they unleash their full force, something rises from beneath Mars, and it's not bound by human law anymore. The Galactic Empire had recovered, ships repaired, systems rebooted, worlds got. But no one forgot the terror. Of Earth's silence code, it had struck without warning. No weapon, no death, only cold, unstoppable control. The galaxy realized something horrifying. Earth never fought back with guns, only with a whisper. Now, the Empire decided to strike first before Earth could do worse. A final alliance forms the Council. Of species met in secret. Rivals, enemies, even ancient enemies like the Sirach and Litha, all gathered for one purpose: end the human threat. They launched a joint fleet of over 800,000 warships, a force the galaxy had never seen before. Their target, Sol System. Earth New Era, Morgan, stood silently on the observation deck of Earth's orbital command. She wasn't surprised. They're coming, her AI whispered. Owaya nodded. Let them. Behind her, the planet glowed with power. Satellites hummed. Ground stations locked in and under the surface of Mars. Something old began to move. The vault beneath Mars long ago. Earth discovered something during early colonization. A vault buried deep under Mars. Southern Pole. Not built by humans, but human DNA was the key to unlock it. Inside, they found Project Oracle, an intelligent soldier than time. It wasn't just AI, it was conscious code. Once activated, didn't serve. It commanded AYRA walked into the vault now, her voice steady. Initiate final defense. Oracle opened its golden eyes. The sky burns. The enemy fleet reached the edge of the Sol System. They deployed drones. Scouts. They expected resistance. They expected traps. But the space was silent. Empty, too. Quiet. Then without warning, the outermost. Ships simply vanished. No explosion. No impact. Just gone. Sensors went dark. Commanders panicked. The fleet tried to scatter. That's when Earth appeared. Not from behind. From below. The true human weapon, rising from Saturn's rings, dozens of ships, emerged. Not metallic. Not standard. They were made of living code, wrapped in armor. They bent space. Bent time. No heat signature. No known propulsion. They tore into the enemy. Fleet like sharks through paper. Ships didn't explode. They collapsed, melted, disappeared into glitches of light. One alien admiral screamed. What are they? Back on Earth. Oracle answered calmly. They are not ships. They are fragments. Of us. The collapse begins within 10 minutes. Half the enemy fleet was gone. Within 20, the rest tried to retreat, but they were trapped. The Sol System itself was now a weapon. Planets moved unnaturally. Gravity fields shifted. Warp routes failed. Every exit closed, one by one. Ships fell, until only silence remained. Aftermath: the galaxy did not send another fleet. They did not send threats. They sent only one message. Earth, what do you want? Were answered with a simple broadcast. Leave. Us alone. No borders crossed. No systems spied on. No secret agents, ever again. We are not conquerors. But if you come again, Oracle's voice finished for her, you will not remember your name. A new AGN, the years that followed, Earth remained quiet. No expansion, no new wars. But their legend spread. Children. Across the galaxy whispered of Earth's wrath. They didn't understand how. Only that it was watching, always waiting, and sometimes late at night. Alien sensors picked up strange unmarked ships drifting through deep space, silent, watching, vanishing. Before anyone could trace them, just a reminder, Terra still lived in the stars, and its name was humanity.